Well, let's turn our attention to social media now. Crooks are apparently cloning Facebook profiles and using them to defraud people. So how do you make sure you don't get cloned? Well, let's get some answers now from Stephen Ambrose, Managing Director at Strategy Works. So good morning to you. Thanks again for joining us. I mean, how widespread is this? Some of us are still active on Facebook. Should we be worried?
The truth is it's actually quite small. There are around about 9.5 million registered Facebook accounts in South Africa, of which anywhere between 5 million and 6 million are active all the time. So when you talk about a couple of hundred cloned accounts, it's a very small amount, but it's still very concerning. And the only thing that anyone can do to really protect themselves against that is not be on Facebook, which is not really a solution today. We're all pretty much involved in social media, and we have our profiles on the various platforms, Twitter, Facebook, wherever we may be. So the best advice is just to be aware and to be cautious. Simple fact is you never send anyone money over a demand over the internet. And the cloning is almost impossible to avoid, because someone goes onto your public profile, takes your picture, then tries to friend your friends and creates a very similar email address or name to yours. So cloning in itself is very difficult, or any sort of that type of activity is almost impossible to avoid. But I think the key on social media is to realize that, like in the real world, there are lots of people trying to find ways to engineer and to get at you and to create situations where they can defraud you or use the information they've gleaned. What's changed with social media is that it's become that much easier. You know, you've got so much social media, you've got so much information out on platforms, which if someone targets you and decides to use that information to look for a way to get you to do something, it's social engineering, and it's engineering on a rather massive scale. So the answer really is that people shouldn't be scared of social media. They should simply be aware. If you get a friend request from someone that you know, and you thought you were friends with anyway, you should then check with them in real time. Send them an SMS, send them a WhatsApp, contact them on another social media platform and say, why are you asking to be my friend again? You are my friend. So simply be cautious and be alive to the fact that people do this. It's going to happen at some point. I've been harassed on Twitter. People have been cloned on Facebook and sent emails in the good old days. I mean, it sounds like a long time ago, but people used to get interesting emails saying, you know, contact us and phone us and do stuff.
So what is Facebook doing about this? Are they aware of the problem? And say, for example, I've done this and I found out this person is not the friend that I thought he or she was, and I do report it to Facebook. Are they aware of the problem and what's being done about it?
Simply they are. And the fact is, if you're a person, a real person, and you have a Facebook profile, and someone else clones that profile and uses your picture and uses your name, in terms of the terms and conditions of Facebook, that's not activity that's condoned. So all you really need to do is send an email to fraud@facebook.com, inform them of what's happened, and they will investigate and remove the profile. It's not going to help to go to the police. It's not going to help to go to any authority, because they have no control over that. Remember, Facebook's an international platform based in America. So the best thing to do is to remain vigilant, do a little bit of research, and a really useful thing to do is to set up a Google alert. Because if you set up an alert on Google for your name, what will happen? Someone sets up that profile, you'll get an alert saying, Stephen Ambrose is on Facebook. You'll say, but hang on a second, I am on Facebook. I'm already on Facebook. So why would I now suddenly get an alert that I'm back on Facebook? So you can then go and check. In this case, it happened to me last week. It was some 14-year-old with my name in California. So it's legitimate, but let's say it was another Stephen Ambrose from Johannesburg with similar pictures to mine, then you would immediately, I would go to that profile, have a look that the email address is perhaps not quite mine. It's stephen.ambrose17@gmail.com.
And talking about the ways that we can stay cautious and make sure that you're alert, issues of external games, applications, shopping sites, does that also aggravate the situation and make things worse?
Not really, no. But again, the people that are looking to get to you and looking to abuse your profile, for want of a better term, will tend to use apps that have issues and that can create problems. And generally, you should be very cautious about two things. One, accepting friends that you don't know. And two, allowing apps to have access to your information without understanding what the app is. So if you get an app request to say, join this new game and give us the authority to view your entire profile, think about it. Don't be unconscious on the internet. The same way as you wouldn't walk down the road at 1 a.m. in a dodgy area, don't go on the internet unconsciously. Whatever you do on the internet, whatever you see, whoever you befriend, whatever activity you do, it's really important that you remain aware of the fact that it's a big bad world out there. There are people out there with agendas that are perhaps harmful to you. So be very aware of what you do and do a little bit of housekeeping. Once every couple of months, check your Twitter profile for fake followers, check your Facebook profile, do a Google search on your name, on your business. Try to understand what's going on, what's being said about you on social media, on the web, and that way you'll become aware or at least accustomed to checking over your shoulder as you would walking in an unfamiliar city. You check over your shoulder, you make sure you're in a safe area, make sure the lights are bright and you're not in some dark alley. The same thing applies to social media and to the internet.
Social media is usually something that's seen as fun, but you're giving us a lot of homework to do, but it is important.
It is important. I think stay aware, stay alive to the fact that the world is not as simple and as shiny a place as it may appear.
It's not as easy as just clicking like there.
Don't just click yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Stephen Ambrose, Managing Director of Strategy Works. Let's take a look at the headlines next.
News that moves. ENCA.com.